But
There were some.
at
Yeah, there
that
were some
point-
pretty colorful guys.
At that point, a lot of them were drafted. And
Yeah. So I'll take you a little farther. Before I got on the Mervine, this DMS, I was up there at Treasure Island, waiting for them to cut my orders to go down to San Diego, where the Mervine was. And a couple of days before I was to go, I was called up to the office for information, and the guys were laughing. They're having a great time. They said, "You're the one supposed to go down to San Diego to the Mervine?" Yeah. I said, "Well, ha ha ha."
so you didn't have the ship was down there and you were up.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been
They,
assigned.
ha ha ha! She almost sank in San Diego
Heard
Harbor.
about this?
Oh, I remember that.
And right at the moment she's being towed up to Long Beach.
Guy opened the stopcock and off
There
it
was
went.
a 14-inch valve that led directly to the ocean, and they were doing repairs on the ship next to the tender out in the middle of the harbor. And one of the chiefs, a chief petty officer, put his wrench on that valve, took that valve off, without recognizing that when he did, that the water was,
He was
just
underwater.
right on up.
Great.
Yeah.
14-inch.
14-inch diameter.
Ooh.
Well, what do you do at that point? Of course,
You run.
yeah, you run for the top side.
Yeah, you don't have a choice.
Well, we were alongside the tender. I wasn't there, but all the people, were talking about nothing but that for a long time. The tender had a lot of pumps. They dropped in their hoses from the pumps and did their very best.
Part of what they
to
did for a
pump-
living, yeah.
Pump the water out of this.
Wallace rushing in there, cranking it
Well,
back
how
out.
do you get that thing back on again?
Yeah, really.
That's the
Well,
problem.
you got the
Well, I don't know.
you got a diver
I
down there and
probably-
he slaps
I
a
probably
big
learned
piece of
how they
rubber
got
on it
it.
or something.
Closed up again. I don't think they got that valve on again. I think they got some kind of a plug or
It
something.
plugged up from the
into it.
outside.
They
Probably
found
divers
a
go
way to
down
plug
and-
it before it flooded and.
Yeah.
And
Well, it
so-
probably didn't have far to go to the bottom there anyway, because it was in port,
Well, it
right?
would have been enough to sink it.
But it wasn't out where it was going to get totally scuttled
No,
and
it
gone.
wasn't going to disappear below the waves, but.
Can you
Well,
imagine?
believe me, we got a hard time from a lot of people because.
That was before you were even on duty.
That's right.
So it took them, what, 3 months to get it back
It took 3 months to get it back in shape and.
back on top of the water?
So my first duty, I reported to in Long Beach in the yard there,
Yeah.
and so my first tour of duty on shipboard was 3 months in Long Beach, and I'd get on the red car and head home at night if I wanted.
Nice.
So it was just 3 months of easy duty and touring the bars and dens in Long Beach.
Dens, meaning like somebody's living
Dens of
room
iniquity.
and their. Well, I gave you an out there.
No, well, I wasn't too far out, but there's lots of action in Long Beach. The two places we hung out the most, that hotel that's right on the corner up at the top of the hill.
The Breakers
I don't know what it's called now.
with sky rooms on top.
Well, that's one. We used to go to the Sky Room, but there was another one, which is where Skyline Drive comes up.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know what you're talking about. but
It's
I
a
don't
tall
know the name.
building right there.
Tall building
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, there was a bar dance
Filming it?
place up on the top of that building. We
Yeah.
used to go there a lot. Then there was a Chiefs Club that was toward Belmont Shore, 5 or 6 blocks from there.
Okay.
It was a regular club. It wasn't a Navy, like officers club kind of thing. It was a.
There's an officers club on Terminal Island,
Okay. Yeah.
but that was pretty calm,
It was no fun.
pretty calm, cool, and collected.
No fun.
Single women wouldn't come to the officers club.
No.
Not likely.
No, or
so
they-
it's a good
if they
place to
did-
go and drink with the boys, but
If they did, you didn't want them anyway.
perhaps
Yeah.
so. I'd have to check them out.
Or you'd have to pay for them anyway. So
Uh,
so it's 3 months in Long Beach.
3 months in Long Beach. Then we didn't hang around the West Coast very long. Uh, we went out to, well, we must have, trying to think of what we did on the
So the
West
ship was
Coast.
in Long Beach and got repaired, and then you were aboard
Yeah.
the ship, and
Then we were aboard, and we towed some targets out of San Diego. We did some gunnery practice at, what's the island where they do all the gunnery?
San
something.
Clemente, might be San.
Whatever that island
San
is.
Jose.
Is that the one where that plane crashed? That down there
Yeah,
east of San
right.
Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's
We
where that
did gunnery
C-130
practice there. Uh, we did go up to San Francisco. I forget what the reason was. We went to Hunters Point, spent some time there. And that kept us busy for a while. And the next thing we did was go out to Pearl Harbor. It was time for a general overhaul. We just had that big repair, not a general overhaul. Went to Pearl Harbor and had for 3 months and had a general overhaul. That was great. That was great duty. I enjoyed that probably more than any other part of my first tour of the Navy was that 3 months at Pearl. It was over Christmas, and you know, the place hadn't yet been overrun by Japanese tourists, and in fact, a lot of Americans hadn't. A lot of people from the mainland
back then, no,
hadn't
that
found
was.
their way back.
Well, they only gained statehood in
59.
'59, was it?
Yeah.
So they weren't even a state yet.
No, so it was. Waikiki had basically 2 hotels,
The Royal Hawaiian.
and the Moana.
Yep.
Yeah, which still has that great banyan tree bar in the courtyard there. We used to hang out at the Moana quite a bit. It was just an opportunity to enjoy the islands because, you know, you're in the yard, you don't have very demanding duties because the yard guys are doing the
Yeah, they're
work.
doing the work.
And
So
you
this is
just have
40.
to kind of stay out of their way and occasionally get involved.
This is 43.
Would have been, and well, no, by then it would have been, I graduated in 47, so this would have been 48.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow. Way late. Okay.
yeah. But, you know, the war hadn't been over but 3 years. It's probably in 47, in
Okay.
fact. Christmas of 47. We were out there.
You went to the Monkey Bar. Wasn't there the Monkey Bar? We went to the Corey and I went to the Monkey Bar in outside Pearl Harbor. Bar with the monkeys
I
behind
guess
the
I
bar.
heard of it. I guess I heard of it.
Okay,
Never did
I
get
thought
there.
you'd mentioned it before.
Yeah, I don't. No, I never did get there. And we came back to the coast and didn't do a lot back on the coast before we went over to China by way of Pearl and Midway and Yokosuka, Japan, and ended up at Tsingtao, which was just a fairly long haul on a destroyer. Took several weeks. Had the experience I've told you just several times about where we came close to getting swamped in a typhoon. One engine out and waves cresting over the ship and
That'd be too
rolling
hairy for
45
me.
degrees to
Oh,
the side.
that sounds.
Oh,
45
yeah.
degrees.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
The captain toying with abandoning ship, but what was the point?
That's a 90
What an
degree
abandoning ship.
swing.
Just couldn't survive in a lifeboat. But
Ugh.
nonetheless, he didn't want the engine room gang to all perish in the villages, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Wow.
So I was on the bridge for that.
Oh, no thanks.
captain was in control of the ship, but I was up on the bridge. I was his officer of the deck, but my duties were not very much compared to the fact we'd taken over. And China was a great experience. I really enjoyed China. I took advantage of every opportunity to tour around and get places.
Pretty wild time in China then. They've just been released from Japanese occupation in that area. Probably not long before
not
that as
very
well,
long
right?
Before, and well, maybe two and a half years.
Yeah,
before.
but that's
But there was a war going on out in the outskirts of St. Tao. You could hear the guns going.
really.
Yeah. Mao and his revolutionary forces attacking the Republic forces. That was going on all the time we were there.
Really.
Yeah. So you couldn't get outside the city, but if you went, you could leapfrog that in an airplane, and like I got to Peiping for a week of R&R. That was great.
Well,
Because, you know,
Peiping is what now?
Beijing.
Beijing, okay.
Yeah. Spent a great week along with a group of sailors. I was the only officer. A bunch of sailors. They were whooping it up, and I was touring some of the sites and doing a little whooping, but not an awful
Yeah,
lot.
okay.
Yeah. A little whooping up.
A little bit of whoop, a half a whoop.
And we
Would that be like
we
a
did
wop?
take the ship to Shanghai.
Well, that's in Italy.
Wait,
Went to Shanghai on the ship and spent several days there. That was an experience, just going up the Yangtze River and over the river that Shanghai is on is the Wangpu River, going over there. We anchored right in the middle of the river, and the very first thing that happens is all these sampans come up to you, and they got their goods to deliver. They got their women, which you wouldn't let.
That's the
on
goods,
board.
yeah.
They had they had everything to offer, but we didn't let any of them come on board. Of course, they're thieves. The other thing, we saw a number of dead bodies out on the river. You know, it's just different, whole different world.
Really?
Your
But
nation.
why? Just
Well,
it was a
there
wartime,
may have been a
or
little flood up somewhere, and some people.
so it
were
wasn't as if it was a battle related.
No.
Just body would just go floating by.
No, there wasn't.
that's tasty.
There wasn't a war
Nice.
going on near there, but there's a different attitude toward death. Seems like.
Yeah. Wow.
We also went up to a city called Port Arthur, which is almost in Russia. Up way high in China, on the coast, of course, and almost into Russia. An old trading city.
The other side of. Oh, okay.
Been
Go ahead.
occupied by Russians before, and has been since, and been on and off. We went there and spent a couple of nights. You go and wave the flag. What you
Well,
do?
which is
Yeah.
fair game.
Strictly waving the flag, showing that
Just you, or was there a number